Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name's Cassie if you're new here, and today I'm going to be taking you along with me on how I edit my Instagram pictures. I'm so excited to be filming this because I get so many questions and I love editing photos, so I'm so happy to share with you guys on how I do it. So if you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment below and make sure you hit that subscribe button. And yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so I pulled up Lightroom on my computer. So as you can see, I took the selfie and it's edited. So I'm going to show you how I went from the original, which looks like that, to how it was after I edited it. The first thing I like to do when I get onto Lightroom is put a preset on there, and I typically use the same preset. I use the bright vibrant one or the cool vibrant one depending on the picture. They're really similar, but sometimes I want it more bright, sometimes I want it more dark, but it depends on the lighting of the picture in the first place. The presets work best with a picture that already has like sort of good lighting. You have to work a little bit harder when the lighting's not so good, but I'll show you both options. I'll show you how I edit a picture with good lighting, and then I'll show you a picture with bad lighting and how I edit it to get it to look better than it was. So I put cool vibrant on this one, and then I like to play around with the lighting. So it depends on every picture, but I usually turn the brightness a little bit down. My Instagram has more like pops of color, but most of the pictures are like darker. And then I turn down the contrast, and this just helps it to look like not as harsh, kind of. When there's too much contrast, it could start to look like kind of grainy, so I like to turn that down. So I'm at like -7 right now. I like to turn that down, and then I mess around with the shadows. I love messing around with shadows because, as you can see, it like makes the background darker or lighter, and I like the background to be light so my face pops or the people in the picture pop out a little bit more. And then the whites, I don't like it to be too white on the face because it highlights a bunch of parts, especially if the lighting's already good. It just accentuates it a little too much, so I like to turn that down a little bit. And then blacks, again, that just like lightens the picture, but I like my pictures to be a little bit darker, like I said, so I turn that down. I'm at like -30. I then go into effects and I turn down the clarity a little bit. The clarity is one of my favorite tools on Lightroom because it makes the preset itself less harsh, so it looks more natural. Like, obviously you can tell that the picture is edited, but you can't tell that much because I turn the clarity down. So I'm gonna turn that down. If I bring clarity all the way up, that's how it looks, so it makes the preset like harsher. So I like to turn that down, but on the flip side, if I turn it down too much, your face looks really airbrushed, so then you can tell it's edited too. So you only go down like a tiny bit. So I'm at like -8. And then dehaze is also one of my favorites. It makes the background darker or lighter, and it like also makes your face darker or lighter. And I think we all kind of want to be like a little bit more tan than we are, so that helps with that. And then I go into temperature, and depending on the picture, like right now it's looking a little too yellowy, so I turn temperature down and just a tiny bit, because a little bit makes a huge difference. So I'm only at like -6. Alright, so then my favorite part, I go into color and I hit the mix tool, and this brings you to like all the different colors, and that's where you can adjust it. And that's my trick. Like, a lot of presets make you look kind of orange, but when you turn down the saturation on the orange color, it helps with that. And then my trick is to turn the hue of the red up, so instead of being more orange, you're more natural toned and like red. Well, for me, I have like a red undertone on my skin, so that's why I turn them up a little bit and turn the orange down. So that's what we're gonna do. Negative 13 right now, and then red, I'm gonna turn the hue up a tiny bit, and then I'm gonna go into saturation, turn the orange down a tiny bit, play around with it until it looks good. So then I think that looks really good. Then I'm gonna save that. So here's the finished product. As you can tell, like it looks a little bit more brighter. My filter's on it, so it'll match with my feed. And then one of my favorite parts, if I want to get a little bit more creative, I go into PicsArt. PicsArt is probably one of my favorite apps. I use it for everything. I put a bunch of stars in the background and stuff like that, so we can go into PicsArt now. Alright, so now that I uploaded the picture into PicsArt, the only thing I really like to do on PicsArt is go into the stickers and add a sticker, add some stars to the background, or butterflies, or whatever it is. Whatever matches the aesthetic of the photo the most, that's what I like to do. So I think today I'm going to use the stars, and there's so many different options. I can scroll through here for hours until I find the right one, but I'm going to go in with these gold stars right here. And I think I'm going to put them right there in the corner, and you can make them bigger or smaller depending on what you want, and you could also like rotate it, add more than one sticker if you desire. I usually just want to keep it like simple but noticeable. Okay. Alright, so that was how I edit a picture with good lighting, and now I will show you how I edit a picture with bad lighting. So yeah. So I have the photo all uploaded into Lightroom. This is what it looks like after I edited it with the preset, and I'll show you before and how I got it to look like that. As you can see, the lighting isn't awful, but it's definitely not ideal. So the first thing I like to do again is go into my presets, and I'm going to use the same one. So none of the presets looked amazing on there, but don't get discouraged because there will be one that you can make look good. So I'm gonna go in with soft vibrant. So as you can see right now, the picture looks terrible. Like now everything's really dark and didn't really fix the lighting that much. It still looks bad. So now you go into adjust, and you go in to the light, and you make the exposure higher, but not too high. This picture is just terrible. Like there was no flash, and it's so grainy, so you gotta work with what you got. So you put the exposure up a tiny bit. I'm at like 0.67. So now you turn the contrast up. So what I like to do, if I turn the brightness down, I turn the contrast down, and then if I turn the brightness up, I turn the contrast up. All right, just like that. Let's check in with the shadows. So the shadows don't really do a lot in this picture. If you bring them all the way down, it just makes the background more black. I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit more so our faces are more bright. And then for the blacks, same thing, it just like brightens everything up, but I want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm gonna go to like -6. So with that, since I turned on the blacks, made the background a little bit darker, now I have to up the exposure a little bit, which also means I have to up the contrast a little bit too. Okay, so it's looking a little bit better now. So now I'm gonna go into temperature, and I think it's a little too yellowy right now, so I'm gonna cool it down a little bit, and I'm gonna bring it down only to -4. So right now the picture is not too orange or anything, so I don't have to worry about going to the color and turning on the saturation of the orange, but I'm still going to turn the clarity down and do the whole dehaze thing and everything. So the clarity is going to come down a little bit, and then I'm going to put the dehaze up, It already looks so much better. So now that I brought the dehaze up a little bit, now I have to bring the exposure and the contrast up a little bit. It's harder with these pictures that don't have as good lighting. You have to work a little bit harder. That's why I keep going back and forth, but then you'll end up with a cute photo, so it's worth it in the end. And then you gotta bring the contrast up. All right, and there you have it. I think that's what I'm gonna stick with. And you could always go into Pixar afterward, add a cool background or something like that, add some stars, do whatever you want. That's just what I like to do. But yeah, so as you can see, you just have to work like a little bit harder on those pictures with not as good lighting, but it pays off in the end, and then it'll match your feed and everything like that. I also get questions on what app I use to see if the picture that I edited will match with my feed. I use the app InPreview. It works really well. You just insert the photo in the grid and then it shows you if it matches or not. That's really helpful if you want to be consistent with your Instagram feed. I really like my Instagram actually, but sometimes when I put all the cool Pixar effects on the background, it kind of messes up my feed, and sometimes you have to sacrifice if you really like a picture that doesn't match your feed and post it anyways, but that's okay. And then you can always like change your feed if you want, so you have a bunch of flexibility with that too. But just wanted to show you guys how I edit my photos, so I hope this was helpful. I'll try to link below the presets I use, but they've been kind of hard to find. I got these a while ago, but if I find them, I'll link them down below because I've been told that my presets are really good. So if I can find them, I'll link them for you. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video or want to see more like this, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys, catch you on the flip side.